The man was almost burned to a crisp. When firefighters moved him, they discovered he had shielded 3 children and his wife under him. The children and wife were still alive, but he had no pulse. The paramedic could not accept this result, hoping to find even a tiny chance. But unfortunately, he had completely lost all signs of life. He bore the burning pain with a human body, yet in the end could not resist God's call. Seeing the man protect the children with his life, the firefighter broke down. He rushed over and desperately performed CPR on the man, hoping for a miracle. He knew the man loved his family so much and surely did not want to leave them. He wished the man could open his eyes and see his children once more, shouting as if it could wake the sleeping man. But sadly, in the end, no miracle occurred. The paramedic had to stop the futile effort and declare the man dead. All the firefighters had red eyes, but ultimately had to accept reality. While packing the ambulance, the paramedic found a soot-blackened toy, likely left by one of the saved children. The firefighter, worried about the man's family, used returning the toy as an opportunity to check on them. But the man's wife was furious at them.
Can you come here? If you'd gotten us out sooner, my children would still have a father.
Ma'am, we're very sorry for your loss.
She blamed the firefighters for her husband's death. The firefighters were shocked and sad, not knowing how to defend themselves. Her grief turned into anger, and she filed a lawsuit accusing the firefighters of negligence. The firefighters couldn't believe it. After risking their lives in the fire, this was the sad outcome. Court day came quickly, but when they saw her exhausted face, their frustration faded. After all, she was just a grieving woman who had lost her husband. The firefighters described the rescue in detail, but remembering the man's heroic act still made them emotional.
Lieutenant Casey handed the children off to the firefighters one by one. Then the mother. Then he and I lifted Mr. Brooker together.
I'm lucky enough to work with some of the best, bravest firefighters in the world. What your husband did, save his family, that was the bravest thing I've ever seen.
She broke down crying. Her husband had already died protecting them, but she still couldn't accept it. Man lay on a drawbridge, frozen, as a motorcycle above him wobbled dangerously. The spot he was stuck on was loosening. If he fell, he would be sent straight to meet God. He had tried to jump when the bridge rose, but got stuck. Firefighters were frustrated. If the bridge had lowered just a bit, he could have been saved. But the staff refused, saying no one could act without supervisor orders. They cared more about rules than life. With no choice, the rescue team climbed the side rail to reach him. As the firefighters slowly approached, the motorcycle handle slipped.
Hold on! Whoa! Whoa, no.
Luckily, it got caught again and didn't fall. This terrified the firefighter so much that he immediately shouted for his teammates to lower the suspension bridge. Seeing this, the teammate didn't hesitate and forcefully went through. As the switch was activated, the drawbridge slowly lowered, the man was successfully rescued. Just when everyone thought it was over, the rescuer ended up being suspended for 3 months for operating the drawbridge without authorization. A lift suddenly malfunctioned. A worker was pinned against the ceiling. He struggled to breathe, on the verge of suffocating. The captain acted immediately, climbing up the lift to save him.
Chief!
The team was stunned, not expecting their cautious leader to be so daring. The deputy followed closely, ready to assist. As they climbed, a warehouse worker suddenly ran over and opened the lift's circuit box. The firefighters quickly stopped him.
Stop! What are you doing?
Maybe it blew a fuse.
No, you lower it now, you crush my guys. Back up, we got it from here.
The firefighter signaled him to move away, warning not to operate the machinery. Suddenly, the captain slipped, hanging midair. Everyone below gasped in fear, hearts in throats. Luckily, he stayed calm, quickly finding footing and grabbing the railing to climb up. The deputy followed onto the platform. They found the man was tightly stuck and had to cut the railing. They lowered ropes, brought up an angle grinder, cut a few railings, and finally freed the man.
Hang on. Oh, here you go.
The junkyard was filled with thick, poisonous smoke, making the workers cry from the fumes. From the color and smell, the firefighters confirmed it was a chlorine gas leak.
Chlorine gas, multiple victims. Squad 3, suit up. I'm the source of the leak, and anyone else is still in there.
All right, Cap, Cruz, Tony, we got chlorine gas. Let's go suit up. We're gonna need putty and plugs.
The team retreated 50 meters and set up a safety perimeter. Then, fully geared, they advanced into the toxic cloud.
You and Tony clear the lot. Cap and I will source the leak.
Copy!
Using a thermal imager, they spotted a large tank spewing gas, planned to seal the crack, but suddenly heard dripping sounds. Liquid had entered the storage tank, triggering a violent chemical reaction. The pressure inside spiked. The dripping turned into a sharp, continuous alarm. By the time the firefighters realized the danger, it was almost too late.
Severide, report!
Cap! 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 Hey, you alright?
I'm fine.
Teammate quickly grabbed a mask to cover his face and helped him escape the toxic zone.
Hey! So you have no clue how a tank full of chlorine ended up in your yard?
Unexpectedly, the villain complained first, blaming the firefighters for not handling things properly. At that moment, the hazardous materials team arrived, forcing the firefighters to retreat according to protocol. But later, the more they thought about it, the angrier they got. Clearly, the factory manager had taken bribes and illegally scrapped the storage tanks, which ended up putting the firefighters in serious danger. They decided to teach him a lesson and reported him to the Occupational Safety Authority. As expected, a shutdown order was issued. The junkyard was permanently closed.
All right, let's head back to 51.
Firefighters followed the proper rescue procedure, but trouble followed. The boy they saved suffered secondary drowning and died despite hospital efforts. His father wasn't ordinary a mafia boss. The furious mafia boss stormed in, yelling at the firefighter and hurling threats.
I tried everything to save your boy, and I wish that I could have saved him. I'm sorry.
You're dead.
Police noticed, but the firefighter didn't pay much attention, thinking the boss was just grieving. The captain advised caution. Next day, the mafia boss returned, surprisingly apologetic.
Peter Mills.
Yeah.
Look, I just wanted to come down here to say that I regret my behavior the other day.
Seeing his sincere face, the firefighter thought it was over, unaware the danger had just begun. Unaware, he received a call for an injured homeless man in an alley. As they tried to take him to the hospital, a black car blocked their way. Two men tied them up before they could react and forced them into the car. The kidnappers threw the firefighter's gear out of the car. Sitting still was not an option. He seized a chance while the man wasn't paying attention.
Brace yourself.
Other firefighters couldn't reach their teammates, but used tracking to find their location. Only the injured man lay alone. Through surveillance, they found the crashed car, empty, except for blood on the seat. Police quickly organized a rescue. At a nearby abandoned factory, the crash victim was seriously hurt. Firefighters made a deal with the kidnapper, helped the injured man, then they could leave. But criminals don't keep promises. Once Comrade was safe, the kidnapper tried to recapture the firefighters. Fortunately, the firefighters had a hidden blade in a sleeve, slowly cutting the ropes and turning the situation around.
Drop the gun.
They ran into a nearby room, but the door couldn't hold. The kidnappers kicked it open.
Chicago PD! Don't move! Drop your weapon!
At the last moment, police stormed in. Seeing this, the kidnapper surrendered. The mafia boss behind it all was also taken in, finally ending the firefighters' crisis.